And when we try to compare it to this, our core business, it's not very attractive from a financial standpoint.
Right.
Is it profitable? Yes. But when you're trying to compare apples to an apple to an orange, it's not going to compare well. So to your point, it's a long view. It's a long game. And we need to get these dealers and dealer groups thinking in terms of, okay, it's not what I'm going to produce this month or this quarter or even this year, but where is my customer retention going to be 3 years from now if I'm doing this every day and I'm bringing back more customers that don't want to come into the store anymore.
Well, I'll tell you where I like to get in presenting or trying to persuade somebody to my way of thinking about something is I'd rather deal with fear of loss than benefit or gain. Okay. And
Yep.
I think one of the thing about Carvana and things like that, boy, do they stimulate fear of loss. Okay. There's no greater way to move something or somebody than fear of loss. The benefit or gain, that's okay. But when you talk about losing something that's really dear to a person, a company, or whatever, you connect with an emotion that you can't connect with benefit or gain. You just can't.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're inching towards that fear of loss. Okay.
Yep.
When a person with a major one of the 6 public groups says it is inevitable, we're just trying to figure it out. I figure fear is sneaking in there somewhere. You just need to kick that door open a little bit. And then you have to give them examples of success. You have to give them examples of success. I just think we're at a tipping point, to use a much overused thing.
No, I agree.
I believe we're close to a tipping point, and I believe it's really close in my lifetime, which is really exciting for me.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right in that. And let's talk about the future piece of it is that, down the road, where do you see this thing in 5 years as far as acceptance, as far as the number of active dealers? Let's say we've got less than Ford's got low 2000s, and then the Mercedes, close to 100, and there's a couple others. There's less than 3,000 mobile dealers right now that are active. Where do you think out of 18,000, where is that 5 years from now? And how do you think that that's going to affect long-term retention and stuff?
Well, I think right now, the way I look at it, and the one thing I liked about trying to start the alliance was I get a real good, pretty intimate view of the people out there helping to start mobile service. And they're basically 4, I don't like the word vendors. I like the word suppliers. They're 4 right now, and I'm watching them real closely, and they're gaining traction, all of them. I mean, it's becoming a race instead of just a casual walk. Okay. And so I just see that accelerating once you reach that tipping point, and there's no way to predict that.
Right.
If you could predict the future, I think you'd be really bored with your life. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that mystery leaves a lot of openness to excitement and challenge and everything. But they're just going to get more. It's going to get, I really believe that retail auto can claim this. And I think one of the big ways it'll claim it is when it starts to sneak into the showroom. Okay. Because the showroom is still the show place. All right. It still is. I mean, they haven't switched the front end and the back end yet, but Saturn had both of their departments at the front of their dealership in their model.
Sure.
And I thought that was very innovative because service and sales were right next together. I think when we get to the point to where the showroom is going to start seeing this as a way to sell a vehicle, boy, look out. And I think that'll come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's they really, once the customer tastes that convenience, they're not going to want to go back.
Well,
Let's
I think it means a lot more to the consumer than the industry thinks it does.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I've been firsthand to a lot of those conversations, training mobile service coordinators, listening in on phone calls, and the people are just astonished that they feel like they've been given this gift. It's just amazing.
Well, and let me just say there's some other challenges here besides selling this, okay?
Mhm.
Because what we're going to have to do once we sell it, the idea to a decision maker, we're going to have to also lead them into a little bit of how to explain it to consumers because consumers are so used to, and familiarity can be dangerous if it's what somebody's used to that you're trying to change and persuade differently.
Sure.
And we can't just put mobile service as the fifth item under parts and service on the drop down,
Mhm.
okay?
Right.
Because they're not going to know what that is.
Right.
So we're going to have to explain more of what it means to a consumer, what mobile service really means to a consumer, and it will blow them away. But just to name it, I do so much research where I see so many who have supposedly bought into mobile service, and all they've got with it is a fifth or sixth place, or maybe even the last place on a drop down menu under service and parts. That ain't going to get it.
Right.
But the more they can explain this, what it means to a consumer, it will be glory day. They're shocked originally. They just don't believe it,
Right.
and so you have to convince them it's real with explaining what it means to them. It's just another process, you
Right.
know.
Well, you touched on a good point about awareness. I mean, the first dealership service departments opened in the early 1900s. So we've been doing dealership service the same way since 1902, 1903, whenever Henry Ford did the first one or who, you know.
Yeah.
So for us to expect folks to just the first time we see a mobile van or an advertisement think, oh, I know what this is. They're not, you know how much advertising people are hit with. They're just numb to it. You really got to repeat that message over and over again.
Well, and plus, you know what you have to do? You have to unwind, in many cases, a perception
Right.
of dealership service. Because, sad to say, in some cases, far too many cases, regular service has gotten a real bad reputation. All right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just has. And, I used to blame the dealers for the pressure that was put on customers when they came into the showroom or came mainly the showroom until I really learned that the OEMs pushed so many vehicles on the dealers,
Mhm.
not according to what type of vehicles that dealer needed for the region they were in, that the dealers had no choice but to put pressure on the customer because they had to get rid of those cars that half of them shouldn't have been sent to that dealer to begin with. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about the Mobile Service Alliance and for someone who doesn't know anything about it, give us the 10,000-foot view of what you're trying to accomplish or what you are accomplishing with the Mobile Service Alliance.
Well, I did this on a whim, okay, about just really 4 months ago or 3 months. It's been a short time. I
Yes.
woke up one morning after really I've gotten a chance the previous months to really engage with a lot of the vendors, like
Mhm.
especially one or two.
Yep.
I learned a lot about mobile service, and when I get interested in something, I'm obsessive to a fault of drilling down into it. And what I saw about mobile service was that the message was getting out even to the dealers in a fragmented way. And
Mhm.
I thought, you know, this message of how important this is for retailers needs to have some sort of unified message that gets the word out about generally why you need to really pay attention to this. I didn't see that. I saw three or four different vendors pitching
Mhm.
their messages,
Yep. Yep.
but I saw a need for an overall. Then I studied a campaign that was covered. It was about the boating industry. Actually, they had a problem with growth, And what they did was they organized a bunch of the manufacturers into a campaign that said "Discover Boating." And I thought, I like that model. I kind of did research on the gentleman behind it, and I thought, I'm going to just throw this out there and try to. The marvelous thing about the world we live in now technologically is I grew up in a four-channel world
Hmm.
of television.
Sure.
You couldn't do anything as an individual,
Hmm.
and now you can be a brand because of
Yep.
electronics and the internet. So I decided one Sunday morning I'm just going to become an alliance. Okay.
I love that.
And what a gift it is to be able to jump on my computer and become a brand. That's
Yes.
the gift of our time. So I thought, it doesn't cost me anything. I'll throw it out there. I know enough of the players, and I have enough contacts to kind of get this thing going. And let's see where it goes. At the very least, it has given me an unbelievable view of where mobile service is, both in the marketplace and with the people that are proposing mobile services. It's been an incredible education. So we'll just see where it goes. That's another nice thing about this.
Hmm.
Where I am as a super ager, I'm kind of doing what I want to do now.
Hmm.
So if it works, fine. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But so far, I'm getting good feedback on it.
Well, it's definitely working, and let me touch on a couple what I think is really valuable, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast, but I think it deserves reiterating. The OEMs, you know, their silos, they're their own silos. So their dealers are getting this message about mobile. Some of the OEMs aren't that versed yet, and they're trying to figure it out. I mean, when I was at Ford, I think I told you or mentioned previously, it was a whiteboard. We were trying to figure it out while we were flying the plane, and the as the other OEMs come on, they're getting second and third generation information that may not be correct. So to your point, a lot of that fragmented messaging starts with the OEMs, and then let's be fair. Let's be fair to the vendors or the suppliers. Each one of us is going to have our own
Absolutely.
spin or our own perspective because it ties into the products and services that we offer. So
Well,
you're going to get
that's free enterprise.
right, right. But to your point though, and taking the really long way around, is you're valuable because you're agnostic. You're Switzerland. You're calling it as you see it. You're not spinning it. You're not trying to push your product.
It's hard, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you to push my product all the time. So
Well,
you
it's
got to be
hard,
up against
but you
everybody's
know
got to
what,
be doing
John?
that to you.
I saw it. I saw it succeed with that Discover boating
Hmm.
model,
Hmm.
and I kind of linked it. The wonderful thing about our electronics these days too is podcasting. I really went to school on everything involved with that Discover boating effort, that campaign. I got in touch with the guy who really headed that up. And so I'm kind of borrowing some things from that, but I saw it work. And it's just something I'm doing right now. Everything to me is in the now, right now. I'm
Sure.
living my life in the now. So I think it is making, I had one vendor or supplier or supporter, whatever you want to call it, the other day out of the blue. The head of that particular vendor uh, uh, email me and say, I really like the content you're putting out there. I'd like to know more about what you're doing. And that was encouraging to me.
Yeah.
So,
I think we all feel that way across the board. And if other people haven't said that, they owe that to you because you've absolutely been a game changer. I will say that.
well, and you know what? It's just a really gift to me. It's just a big deal for me because my background is radio, television, media. I love that industry of being able to influence with messaging, and it's an exciting time in broadcast and in media right now. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of people don't like it. The people who have been in the three channel
The
world.
legacy operators don't like it because it's diffused that concentration, like you said, the four channels, the terrestrial radio, that stuff's all it's all
But,
open now.
but you know who's driving all that is the consumer. The
Mm-hmm.
consumer is going to get what they want in media, in vehicle servicing and car care, in consumer products. Listen, let me tell you, bet on the consumer and you've got a winner.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Well, let's take a pause because this has been really informative. I'm gonna one of the things that we do on this podcast is we kind of reflect the most recent magazine issue, which is coming out probably the end of next week. And I'm just gonna click through a couple of things here. Let's see what our friend Richard Branson says. He says, there's no greater thing you can do with your life and work than to follow your passions in a way that serves the world and you. That reminds me of you.
Thank you.
Pretty well said, right?
Not a
All right.
bad example to follow.
No. A pretty smart guy, too. A little bit crazy, which makes him even more fun.
Eh.
This is the magazine cover. It's a little bit of a play on words. I know that you deal with a lot of other brands that are probably a little bit more dignified than me. I don't try to be undignified, but I like to be. I'm me. You know, I'm not a bland. I'm a brand. So I call this the gross issue. The gross looking like the slime that would be dumped on your head on the kids show, but it's all about gross profit. And the second portion of our podcast is going to be with we're going to address those 10 things that you can do to boost mobile service gross. So, but I definitely wanted to talk to Roger first. Let's see what else we have in here. The cartoon of the month. I don't think you've seen this yet, Roger. Wild Bill's Stagecoach Sales and Service. And you got two sway back nags over here that are really tired. And one of them saying, I'm so glad we have mobile service. I need a break. They're loner horses. They're loner horses. I heard that, brother. And then you see the stagecoach speeding away with the horse is going to go provide stagecoach mobile service. So little funny for you there. Lastly, a little plug for Mobile Next Level. Of course, you guys probably know by now, we offer scheduling software called Geotech. We also do mobile service coaching virtual, as well as on-site coaching under the Mobile University brand. And of course, we're doing rapid fit mobile unit upfitting, which we really enjoy as well. So it's been a fun ride for us. We've got some partners with Corgi. Roger, you might know that we're resellers of Corgi. We've had some really good experience with some of our upfits using their tire changers and wheel balancers, and they've been really good to us as well. So
That's another underserved part of service is our tires.
absolutely. It's
Ford once again struck a real win with the around the wheel thing. That's another whole thing we could talk about for hours, John.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think it dawned on people that, they get fixated on tire gross and they don't realize if you kick a tire customer down the road, you're kicking your alignments and your suspension work and your struts and all that stuff along with it, right?
Well, tires are the foundation of safety.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. And a number one defect item, I might add too.
You better believe it.
Roger, do you have any more words of wisdom? I've already stolen a bunch of quotes from you, and we'll take credit for them, as I said. But what else can you tell us to sign off today?
Well, I let me say first of all, disclaimer: this message is not bought and paid for at all. John, you're different. What I've seen about you is you've smelled the chrome. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you've spilt the oil. I mean, you've done everything. You've done it. You've done service face to face with it, but you're also a creative. Right now, one of the areas that I'm really investigating is media right now, and the creatives have taken over entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are individuals using YouTube and things and the magic of the internet. And it's incredible what that's done to the fragmenting of media. So you've got a rare talent in not only smelling the chrome, but also being a bit of a creative. I love this. I love that you're featuring me on something. I really appreciate that. And
yeah, absolutely.
Let's just turn the page day to day and see where we go.
Rock on. It sounds great. Roger Conant from the Mobile Service Alliance. Thank you, my brother. Looking forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, John.
All right. Take care.